Have you ever noticed players practicing with a towel under their arms when they're hitting balls and wondered what they're doing, or maybe even wondered if this drill could be helpful for you? Well, today I'm going to share with you how the towel under the arms drill could be helpful whether you're a high-speed golfer looking to add some level of precision and consistency to your swing, or if you're a newer golfer looking to add some basic structure and geometry to your stroke so that you can become more consistent. Armed with a stack and tilt towel and the stack and tilt grid on the ground, let's get into this and help you play better golf. Before I put the towel under my arms, a quick explanation of these lines on the ground. This is the stack and tilt grid built onto the mat here using the T-claw. I've used this in lots of other videos, so you may well be familiar with this, but just quickly for those of you who are not familiar with this diagram, the lines on the outside here and the lines closer to my feet are representative of the club and hand path respectively, and they're angled in such a way to help me visualize the fact that we play golf on a tilted angle. That means we stand to the side of the ball with these clubs that are bent and angled. And as a consequence of that, the golf swing is on a plane, it's tilted to the ground. So there's a need for the hands and the club, as demonstrated here by the grid. There's a need for the hands and the club to come around on the backswing, back on the downswing, and then go back around the golfer again in the follow through. That's really what this diagram on the ground is giving you some basic guidance for. It's like a roadmap really, just to help guide you through time and space. The towel comes into this equation because so many golfers violate this geometry. They get it wrong at many different points throughout the swing. A very obvious one would be a golfer who took the club back in a very straight line and lifted their arms excessively off the grid. If I had a towel under my arms, it would help me to keep the connection between my arms and my body, that connection that exists at setup. If you set up to the golf ball, you'll notice how there's a connection between the upper arms and the torso, and that connection should remain more or less in place throughout the swing. And if it does so, it helps guide my hands and club in the backswing, also in the downswing, stopping me from getting too steep, and then just as importantly, but often overlooked, into the follow through, where so much of the geometry gets violated without golfers even realizing. Where the club and hands go in the follow through has a tremendous influence on the directional control of your golf ball. That's what I was referring to earlier when I said high speed players who need more precision in their game can benefit hugely from this drill, and that's why you're seeing high expert tour players using this drill, because the faster you swing, sometimes the more benefit you can get from this exercise. So it's really very simple. Place a towel under your arms. I like it to be quite close to the top of the arms, almost into the armpit. If it's too low down, it can often create a situation where the arms end up staying too low. And as you would know by now, in golf you can do too much of anything. You can have the arms too high, but it could also have the arms too low. So pushing the towel up into the armpits, I'm going to hold it in place and start out making some practice swings, just trying to keep the pressure points, the connection between the arms and the body, holding the towel effectively. If you find this difficult to do, then you may need to start with just one arm at a time. And you could do that with a smaller towel, or you could just grab a head cover and place it under either your right or left arm. But to start with, let's see if we can do this with both. We're going to place this under both arms and just go ahead and hit some shots. The feeling whenever I do this drill is one of quite significant pressure or holding of the towel against my body. The shot that I've hit there is much straighter than my typical ball flight. So this drill really helps to tighten up the curve on my golf ball. I want to explain to you where many golfers get this wrong. A lot of people think about the towel drill as something that is only really valuable in the backswing, possibly even the downswing. But I've mentioned already today how in the follow through, golfers completely violate the geometry without any understanding of what they're doing wrong. I fall into this category, so this is a topic close to my heart. So I want to share with you how the towel under the arms, particularly into the follow through, could be an absolute game changer for those of you who swing quite fast but struggle to control your ball direction. So the club path in that last shot was 1.6 degrees to the right, effectively a very straight swing, which would tell me that I'm swinging quite nicely and conforming quite well to this geometry. What happens in swings where you don't do that, particularly into the follow through? Let me show you. When you're swinging fast, and the faster you swing, the harder this is to do, the forces at play in the impact interval are actually trying to throw the club head and the hands out off the grid. So you may see sometimes in players, they have an exit or a follow through where the club goes out to the right more in this example and have a very, very high exit with the club and the hands. That would be consistent with a golfer who struggles to conform to the geometry at higher speed, allows their arms and clubs to be thrown to the right, which creates an excessively rightward path, too much into out, resulting in pushing, thinning, and a lot of hooking, especially with the longer clubs like the driver. So if you see yourself as that player or someone who just struggles to control the direction of their ball at all, conforming to the grid throughout the swing is valuable, but conforming to the grid in the follow through is a really good idea. So what you'd want to look for as a player when you're filming your swing from down the line is that as you swing through, both the club head, the club shaft and the club head, and my hands exit my body both just below the shoulder, somewhere around the mid bicep would be a good reference or a good checkpoint, and that they exit in as close as possible to being the same place. So you have the club head and the hands exiting at the same time. That's showing that they're conforming to this geometry. So the closer that your club and hands exit in the follow through, the better your geometry and the more likely you are to be able to control the direction of your shots. And the further apart these two things exit, the club and the hands in different places, the more you're violating this, and the chances are the control of your shots will be very, very difficult. As a checkpoint, anything that exits above the shoulder, I would say is a little too high, and you want to start to learn to bring it down. And equally, golfers who violate the swing by swinging too much across the ball like this, which would be high handicappers and slicers in particular, that exit of the hands and the club might be lower, somewhere near the belt buckle. That would be too low. So as a guide, we're looking to get the club and the hands to come out more or less in the same place and more or less through the center of the torso, mid bicep, as I said. If you can do that, your contact will improve because your swing direction will be better, your low point control will get better, but your directional control should also improve. This will make you a better golfer if you can learn to control your exit just like the best players do. That's why they utilize this drill, and I think this drill can help you as well. So let me do one where I let go of the towel in the follow through by allowing the forces at play, and again I've mentioned these before in previous videos, the forces at play through the ball, throwing my hands and arms out to the right. I'm likely going to get my right arm disconnected from my body and drop the towel. Let's see what happens to the path of my swing when I allow that to happen. Okay, so I drop the towel, much higher exit, more of a push, some draw back to the target, and we might look at that and say that's not terrible, and I would agree that shot just there is not terrible, but the club path shifted 10 degrees to the right. That would be very difficult to manage long term, and I even noticed there as I hit that ball, I hit it slightly heavy, just a little bit fat. The more I swing to the right, the more likely I am to hit behind the ball and thin the ball because my low point moves further back. So that would be unsustainable over a period of time, and this is a 7-iron. Once I get into the driver, if I start swinging that far to the right, my ability to control the curve on the ball would be dramatically reduced. As always at this point in the video, the question is, nice drill, Rob, but does this work with the driver? Well, I've already alluded to the fact that the faster you swing, the more valuable this drill can be. And you'll see the best players practicing with towels under their arms, not just with their irons to control this geometry, but also with their driver, because the faster you swing, the more it's likely your arms get pulled off your body, so this becomes even more valuable. So I really felt like the hand path went more out to the right there. There's a straight push with the driver. The faster I swing, the more my hands and club want to get thrown off the arc like so. This is referred to as the screwdriver, where the handle goes up and the hands and wrists twist and the club face gets turned down very violently, a bit like twisting a screwdriver, which makes controlling the driver very difficult to do. That was a straight push, but with a tiny little bit more twisting of the face, that could have very quickly become a nasty hook. So let's talk through how to do this with the towel. It's just the same concept really, but because you're swinging faster, the forces at play are greater, and so you actually need to be more mindful of how to keep hold of this towel as you do this drill and work up to full speed. The swing feels a little bit more disciplined. Just feels like there's more control in my follow through. I didn't hit that one particularly great. I hit it slightly towards the heel there in terms of doing that exercise. Same swing speed, more or less, 104. Path 0. So it really straightened out my swing and gives me an element, much greater element of control on my ball flight. I was first shown this exercise by Stack and Tilt's founder Andy Plummer, and since then my driver has become the strongest part of my game. Working on this exercise through my bag, in fact, has helped me to become a better golfer. So grab yourself a towel. There's no proof a Stack and Tilt towel helps you to do this better than any other regular towel, so don't worry too much about that. Get yourself a grid on the ground. It can help you to visualize what you're trying to do. You don't have to build it like I do necessarily with the T-Claw. You can use just basic sticks on the ground when you're at the driving range. Very simple to set up. Put it in place, have a reason for why you're doing this, and now you've got some checkpoints to look for, particularly in the follow through of how this club should be exiting your body. You'll be able to straighten out your swing and build it correctly. Even if you're a new golfer, learning golf, getting the geometry right in the beginning can be very, very valuable. As you add speed, you know how to keep the geometry good. So make sure, towel under the arms, grid on the ground, check your exit, and look out for those straighter shots. I hope there was some useful information there about how to trace the correct geometry of the golf swing, tracing the grid effectively. And just like many great drills, the towel under the arm drill is simple but very effective and something that you can implement immediately into your practice. If you'd like to get more information on the grid and how to incorporate it into your swing with some in-person instruction, I'd encourage you to attend a Stack and Tilt practice day. There's a link down in the description for all upcoming events. I'm actually hosting one on Sunday, June the 8th with Stack and Tilt founder Andy Plummer. Very limited spaces available at the time of recording this video. If you're interested in coming to learn from Andy and me directly, you're going to get the full Stack and Tilt treatment on Sunday, June 8th. Get down into the description, click on that link, and if there's any spaces available, we'd love to see you there. Once you've learned to swing on the grid and conform to the geometry that we discussed today, you're going to need to know how to fit this club face into the swing in order to hit a functional golf shot. I made this 10 video series here called Draw Every Ball, which discusses exactly that, how to fit this club face into the swing so that you can draw every ball. If you'd like to get your hands on these videos, there's two ways in which you can do it. Number one, you can make a one-time purchase for lifetime access to these videos. That link will be down in the description. You can watch these videos again and again at your leisure. The other option you have is to join the YouTube channel membership. All members get access to all 10 of these videos whilst your membership is active, and you'll also get access to my short game system series as well. Whichever route you choose, I'll be very grateful to have you over, and I know these videos will help you to play better. And just to give you a nice taster, get over here and check out this video next. This is video 1 in the Draw Every Ball series. This video is not live on the internet. This is an unlisted video that only you can watch, so don't tell anyone about it. Make sure you click here and go and check it out.